This podcast is brought to you by The Senior Techie, a source of information for seniors and others about technology. You know, when we usually talk about tech for seniors, it's all very practical. Paying bills, checking the news, maybe figuring out how to Zoom with the grandkids. But looking at the latest research from The Senior Techie, there's a much deeper layer here. We're seeing this shift where devices are becoming, well, vital tools for spiritual health and inner peace.
It is a fascinating shift.
Yeah.
And the core mission the Senior Techie highlights isn't about turning everyone into an IT expert. It's actually the opposite. It's about how technology can kind of fade into the background, so you can maintain those faith practices or find some calm without the frustration of like battling a user interface.
That's the dream, right? But let's be honest, the barrier to entry is usually so high. If I want to watch a church service online, I'm usually fumbling with links or audio settings like 5 minutes before it starts. It's stressful.
Which is the opposite of how you want to feel.
Well, exactly.
And that brings us to the first key insight, the hands-free connection. The Senior Techie points to a device called ViewClix. It's a smart frame, but the genius is in the mechanism. A family member can schedule it remotely, so the church service just color rating. It streams automatically when it starts.
Wait, so the senior sitting there in the living room doesn't have to touch anything?
Nothing at all. The screen just changes from family photos to the live service.
Yeah.
And then it just reverts back when it's done. It shifts the technical burden entirely.
That's incredible. That solves the whole how do I get there problem. But what about, for people who want the big screen experience, the Senior Techie also mentions Odessa Connect.
Right. And that pushes content like scripture and prayers directly to the TV, the screen we're all most comfortable with. It also simplifies video calling down to a single click. It's all about removing that friction.
And what about that church directory tool?
Oh, the Instant Church Directory. It just helps put names to faces in your congregation, makes things feel more connected.
That is helpful, so you're not just a passive observer. Okay, so we've solved Sunday morning. But spiritual health isn't a once-a-week thing. What about the daily routine?
This is where apps for daily devotion come in, and the focus is all on accessibility. The Senior Techie points to the YouVersion Bible app. You might know it, but the standout feature for our audience is the audio.
Which is huge if your eyes are tired or reading small text on a phone is a strain.
Precisely. You can just listen. And to add a bit of structure to that, there's an app called Lectio 365. It guides you through prayer times morning, midday, and evening. It's based on Jewish tradition, but the benefit here is psychological. It uses that ancient structure to sort of anchor your day.
I really like that idea of anchoring the day. I saw the Senior Techie also mentions Our Daily Bread, which tackles the isolation part with a comments section.
Yes, exactly. It turns a solo devotional into a community discussion. But if we pivot slightly from spiritual to mental wellness, the Senior Techie really emphasizes using tech to actively lower stress.
Okay, I'm always a bit skeptical here. Meditation apps can feel a bit overwhelming if you've never done it. Do you really need to log in to relax?
It can definitely feel that way, which is why the recommendation is for, let's say, microdosing mindfulness. Headspace offers guided sessions as short as 3 minutes. Very low commitment.
See, that I can do.
Or, if you want something even less demanding, Insight Timer has thousands of free ambient sounds, like Tibetan bowls or rain.
Just playing a soundscape to help fall asleep, I could get behind that.
It works wonders. And then you have Calm for Sleep Stories and Smiling Mind for gratitude journaling. But we have to address the elephant in the room, physical isolation. We're just staring at screens alone.
Well, this is the part of the Senior Techie's list that surprised me most. Virtual reality. My first thought is that VR is for teenagers playing video games, not for seniors.
That's the common misconception. But the application here is something called reminiscence therapy. Because VR is so immersive, it literally blocks out the living room. It tricks the brain into feeling like you're actually elsewhere. You can visit a childhood home, a museum, a concert. It triggers memory pathways that just looking at a flat photo can't.
So it's cognitive exercise disguised as travel.
In a way, yeah. And for social connection, there are platforms like Get Set Up or Papa. They aren't just about chatting. They're about purpose.
Yeah.
You can teach a class or mentor someone. It moves you from being a passive recipient of care to an active participant.
That sense of purpose is probably the best medicine there is. So here's a question for you to mull over. Looking at your own week, whether it's spiritual, mental, or social, which area is feeling a little neglected? And could one of these tools offer a simple fix?
It's definitely worth exploring.
This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to keep up with their newsletters, you can subscribe for free by going to theseniortechie.com.